I'm not like him. I'll never be like him. I don't want him in my life. Matter of fact, don't even say his name. Don't say I look like him. Just keep me and him out of the same sentence. I'm not like him. I'll never be like him. I don't want him in my life. Matter of fact, don't even say his name. Don't say I look like him. Just keep me and him out of the same sentence. And those phrases are things that a daughter says when she is trying to protect herself. And resistance makes sense when promises were broken. For some of us, father is a word that takes us back to places that we'd rather leave unturned. It's not a safe word. It carries the weight of disappointment, of silence, of unpredictability, of misunderstanding, of absence. So when we hear God our Father, our body remembers before our spirit responds. As daughters, we are often seen as a reflection of the ones that helped birth us, and that can either feel like an honor or a burden, or there's no feeling at all. So if my earthly father never kept his word, why would I trust God to? And most of us, we don't do this consciously. We don't consciously think about, okay, I'm not going to trust God because my father did this thing. But it's a subconscious thing because of our past and what has happened before. And so we subconsciously transfer emotion. So, like, for example, if your earthly father wasn't available, I won't go to God. If I didn't feel like I could come and talk to my dad anytime, then I probably won't come to God whenever I'm dealing with something really, really hard. I'm just going to figure it out on my own. If he disappointed me, I won't hope with God. If my father wasn't safe, then I'll stay guarded and just try to keep all distance from God because I feel like anytime that I obey him that I'm hurt. These things weren't us trying to compare God and our fathers to one another, but again, it's the fact that we've experienced some things, and because we are supposed to see God as Father, now we are thinking about our earthly father and the things that he has done. And I need you to know that this does not mean that there is an issue with your faith, but more so that it is a wound that you are trying to protect. We often build up these walls, and we don't just do it with God, but we do it with people. We do it with new people, especially who come into our life. We do it in relationships. We even do it with our children, but we will put up these walls because we are scared that if we let somebody in and we let the wall fall down, that somehow or some way they are going to mess something up or break our heart. So instead of free flowing and letting the people inside, we tend to guard ourselves and to protect ourselves, even if we don't realize that the protection is keeping us from something greater. And the invitation isn't to force yourself to trust God as Father. The invitation is to recognize where trust feels impossible. And so we are going to end today with a few reflection questions, but just again, this isn't meant for us to feel bad for the feelings that we have towards our fathers, for whatever reason, for whatever things that may have happened in our childhood or even in our adulthood, but instead it's to recognize the resistance. It's to recognize where there are still hiccups for why it feels like I can't look at God as Father. And so, our first question, remember, as you hear these questions, don't just hear them, think about it, and don't do anything with the information. I really want you to get out pen, paper. I'm a pen and paper person. If digital works for you, cool. But I really want you to write these questions out, sit with them, invite God in, and work through your answers so that we can begin to flow into the release of what we are recognizing. I want to ask the one that I feel like is the heaviest right here and right now, and you can find the rest of them in the comments below. But I also just want to acknowledge that anger, numbness, those are true feelings and they may come up, and it's okay to sit in that. You don't have to rush it, because I know for a very long time it took a while for me to come out of the place of having unforgiveness in my heart towards my father and other family members. And so it's not going to be an overnight thing. And I can truly say that the more and more that you invite God in and you allow Him to lead instead of our own desires, that you might not have a perfect relationship with your father. I'm not going to promise that. But what I can promise is that you'll begin to have more forgiveness in your heart and lead with love more than anything. So, the one question that I want to speak out to you is, what feels the hardest to believe? What feels the hardest to believe about you being a daughter? What feels the hardest to believe about a relationship with the Father? What feels the hardest? So, whenever you join us next week, the conversation, we're going to dive a little bit more deeply in what does it actually mean to be a daughter, and not just a daughter to our earthly fathers, because we all know that we can't control our relationships with our earthly fathers. The only thing that we can do is give love in the way that Jesus would, as best as we can. But don't let that earthly relationship deter the heavenly relationship that you have with your father. And so that's what we'll be diving into more next week. But until then, really, really sit with these questions, allow God to speak to you, and so that you can recognize, so that we can begin to release. So remember to subscribe to our channel so that you can be with us next week and hear all about it. Like this video, comment. We love hearing the things that you have to say that sparked up from the conversations that we have, and also share with another mama. You never know who may need to hear this word. And if you didn't watch last week's video, we have finally announced publicly that the Take a Break Mama Retreat will be happening here September 2026 in South Carolina. So if you are interested in taking a break, getting to try some new things that maybe life has held you back from, this is the space for that. To be surrounded by women who are intentionally living their lives on purpose, okay? And also wanting to have fun while doing it. The waitlist form will be in the description, and you want to go ahead and make sure that you fill out the form, because we are going to start finalizing spots by the end of January. So again, the waitlist form for the Take a Break Mama Retreat that will be happening here in South Carolina 2026, September 2026. The form is in the description, and we will be finalizing spots by the end of January. Without further ado, I love y'all, and I'll see you next week.